Hi everybody, Chris Titley here and welcome to Scoreboard.
This episode is powered by SwiftX, Australia's top-rated crypto exchange and proudly homegrown. Just like many of the athletes and business leaders we feature on Scoreboard.
Alright, hi, it's Chris Titley here and on today's episode of Scoreboard I'm joined by, in person, Darcy Gardiner. Your first ever in-person interview podcast.
It is,
Apart from like a generic press conference, right?
It is, yeah. It's something new for me, so thanks for having me on and I'm looking forward to it.
Welcome. We're sitting here on the 13th of November at 10:15 in the morning. How's your 2025 been?
Yeah, it's fair to say it's been pretty eventful, and I'd say mostly for the right reasons. So, yeah, had a very, very good year so far, very lucky, and have thoroughly enjoyed it.
And mate, what have you been up to post celebrations and things like that? Obviously it keeps going and gets better with age, but the last few months?
Yeah, so obviously, yeah, it's been a bit happening the last few months for myself. Yeah, lucky to be a part of the Premiership team with the Brisbane Lions. Yeah, very big moment.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, a big week, as you say, after that, celebrating, enjoying it with everyone, and then, yeah, a bit of off-season travels as well. So.
Yeah, mate, where do you get up to? Do you go abroad?
Yeah, yep. I've been lucky enough to be over in Europe for the last 5 weeks. Covered Spain, Portugal, Ireland, Iceland and Stockholm. So, yeah, I've seen plenty.
Stockholm?
Yeah, we just ducked in there for the last couple of nights, just sort of worked better to travel from there. And
yeah, nice. Did you go to the, what's it called, the Grand Central Hotel, I think it is, on the river there? It's about $1,000 a drink.
It did, but it wouldn't have gone in.
Yeah.
By the end of the trip, that wasn't an option, unfortunately.
I think when we went there, we got some peanuts or something to kind of,
just to make
sure, we're here. Wow, there's people watch for a bit and they're like, are you ordering anything? I can't afford it, sorry. No. But what was your favourite spot, mate?
Yeah, it's a good question. I've been asked that a few times. I did love Ireland just because it's a beautiful countryside, scenery. We drove around and had a good mate, Connor McKenna's wedding teammate as well, wedding over there, which was great fun. And I think Iceland as well. That was just something different, pretty unique.
Yeah,
yeah.
Northern Lights, as they say.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunately we missed out. We're there for 4 nights and we had cloud coverage every night. And I think it's been going off every night since we've left. But
one thing I was pleasantly surprised about Ireland about a decade ago when I travelled there was the food.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is like, you think, oh, Ireland, the food. You're like, no, it was pretty world class when I was there.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
No, it was the same. Didn't venture too far. We were stuck to the pub feeds, but you get a good sized meal, nice and cosy and warm in there. And to be honest, mostly throughout a lot of the places in Europe, it was quite impressive. So
yeah, mate. Looking back at 2025, a huge year. You've been part of the club for a long time now. What does it feel like, I suppose, from when you started at the club, and then those early years where you were 16th or 17th or wooden spoon, etc., and then behind the scenes, quietly building, and then to come to that moment, yeah, the feeling around where you've been and where you are now.
Yeah, it's a pretty hard one to put into words. I have also been asked that a little bit, and I still think it's something that I'll come to terms with a bit more down the track. But it's a pretty good feeling. I've looked back, I tried to look back on it a few times, like you said, the journey that it's been. Quite slow going at the start, but I was also, it sort of goes both ways. I was lucky enough to be playing, I guess, as a young kid and getting the experience. There's a lot of guys, sort of, if you go to a good team, you might not get to be playing. So sort of worked both ways, probably a little bit for me. And then, flip to this sort of time in my career and to be part of a successful team and club and sort of see it through the whole way is definitely something pretty special to me. Yeah.
I'm just, a bit of noise in the background. I'm just going to sort of recap that just for the listeners to give a bit of an insight. So 2014, your first year.
Yep.
You finished 15th. Yep. 2015, finished 17th. 2016, finished 17th. 2017, finished 18th as Spoon. 2018, finished 15th. 2019, finished second, eliminated in the finals. 2020, second, eliminated in the finals. 2021, fourth, eliminated in the finals. 2022, sixth, eliminated in the finals. 2023, second, GF loss. 2024 fifth win, 2025 third win.
Yep.
The turning point was around sort of 18, 19.
Yep.
The newish group, the new leadership group, the refresh. go back to that moment, what were you thinking then about all this sort of new players and new coaches, etc., and the thinking around, is this a 5-year play, 2-year play, 10-year play? What was the thinking then?
It was obviously we had a fair bit of changeover. I think it was that start of that 2018 sort of year. It's when it sort of all started happening. I think that's when Fags.
I think the first game at the Gabba as well, you played West Coast and may have won that, and they were the premiers the year before.
I think something like that.
What?
Yeah. So it was sort of like I said, a lot of change in the club, but a lot of key figures sort of coming in and that have pretty much been there the whole time now. It was I think maybe my 4th or 5th year, and it was obviously a turnover, new head coach. So sort of it's like, okay, well, it's somewhat exciting to sort of see what could potentially happen. Plenty of experience coming in, like I said, new players as well that have had good experiences at other clubs. So it was, and there was still enough. Like I still had a pretty close group of friends that had been there as well, sticking together as well. So it was sort of good to have that there as well. To not be too worried or concerned, I guess, about the future. That you're sort of going to give it a crack together and slowly add in pieces along the way and mature and develop. As you said, the leadership came a long way. To be honest, there was like we said, we got Hodgie came in as a player as well for a couple of years there. Even Grant Birchall came in for a little bit there, just sort of adding little pieces in just to help. It sort of worked out the right way when they came in. We needed that sort of that guidance, leadership, and to know what they've gone through and how they got there and that sort of thing. So at that time it was just sort of exciting, I guess, and just refreshing, and just looking forward to sort of a new challenge.
When you approach a season coming off the spoon or 16th or 17th, is there some sort of goal in mind as a collective group? Individual goals as well, but certainly something along the lines of like, maybe we want to make the finals, or maybe we want to do the top 4, or is it more just like take every week as it comes? Yeah,
no, there definitely is. It probably took me a little bit, like my first few years, like I said, I was just didn't really bother, like not in a selfish way, but didn't bother me too much where I was sort of finishing, because I was just new into the system. I was playing sport I always wanted to play, and I was playing every week. Obviously, I wasn't a competitor, so I wasn't happy about the results, don't get me wrong. That was definitely flattening at times and made you question, is it the right place to be? Do you want to be here, sort of thing? But we sort of, you're probably not really looking at too much of a win-loss sort of area early on in your, that new period, because it's pretty unrealistic to think you can just sort of, flick the switch and go from bottom to top that quickly. So more just breaking down probably key statistics that we think will turn us into a good team, and things that we know are top 4 or top 8 key areas you've got to be good at. So I think we just focus on those categories pretty much week to week. You reassess it probably halfway through the year, see how you're going in those areas. You see improvement, guys get confidence, and you keep building. And then your results, you might not lose by as much. You see those margins start to come down. You get a couple of wins here and there. You steal a couple. And it just sort of slowly builds off that. But it's probably not like I said, the win-loss. It's just building in those key areas. And people talk about trusting the process and belief, etc. But when things aren't going your way, how do you question the process? Do you question things, and your brain goes to weird places and goes, well, we're on a path to maybe nowhere? Yeah, definitely. I think we were pretty lucky. Like I'm sort of probably talking now more from that 2018 onwards when Fags got there. He was very good at, and he still is, and has had to be over the years with how we've been. He's not painting the wrong picture. He's providing us with the facts of where we actually sit in, like I said, all those statistics and categories. Like I said, we weren't probably getting the results. But now, you can look back and it's easy to say that it was, the right way to do it. It's very easy to look back, but it's very hard to win premierships, right? Yeah, it is, yeah. And like you said, at the time when things aren't going right, you definitely do. There's chatter and talk. Is this right? Is that right? Wrong? But I think because we've been such an open group in terms of giving, taking feedback, not just between the players, coaches as well, I think that's helped in that area in making everyone still believe that sort of what we were doing was the right path. And like I said, you could see it just slowly building. You had to be very patient, but I think that was important. Are you a patient person? It depends who you ask. Not if you ask my wife, but sometimes. Sometimes, yeah. when you're still being able to, like I said, still lucky enough to be able to be playing and just enjoying it. That's the main thing.
Yeah, you talked about feedback there. I mean, feedback must be pretty brutal in some instances and very personal, maybe sort of personal from someone that you trust or know as a friend or a captain or a leader or a coach, etc. How did you go with feedback?
Yeah, probably not great early on. More so from coaches. I think I was pretty good with that and respected them and understood they're trying to get you better. I was probably more on field at times. You can, like I said, I'm pretty competitive, and it doesn't. The good thing about it being on field is it doesn't continue off field. It's just it happens in the heat of the moment. Either whether it be training or games. Probably early on was a bit hot headed.
You hot headed?
Yeah,
or the people around you?
No, myself. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. A lot of us are. That's what sort of a lot of athletes
and your
are.
Feedback delivery is quite brutal then.
It probably maybe just early when I was younger. It was just more not just immature a little bit and just thinking they're not just my way's the right way, that sort of thing. Not bad, but yeah, you just look back and I've been able to learn over time. Since we've had more leadership programs implemented at the club, been a part of that sort of stuff. How you do just ways to deal with it, especially over the last 7 or 8 years. And I've seen myself change a lot on and off field in terms of not even leadership, or responding to feedback, even umpiring decisions, how the game's going, how your head space is when things aren't going your way, have certainly changed a lot.
I'd imagine if you're down at half time or three-quarter time, which you've relentlessly been and come back, and it's been a wonderful thing to watch, but the views around what to do and do this and do that, and somebody goes, no, I wouldn't do that. How do you kind of understand and train your brain to say we need a collective decision, and or as a back unit we need a collective decision, and or something where we're all in agreement?
I guess you just have to work together. You don't really have a choice out there. Otherwise, if you don't choose to go down that path, it's only going to go one way and it's not going to improve. So it's something, like I said, you look at, it's not all about stats and all that sort of stuff, but we have our key points as a backline group that we look at and monitor throughout the game to make sure, okay, we're not doing this well, we're doing that well. You might come in at half time and you can see, okay, this thing's, I don't know, whatever it is just not going well. But the rest of the game's taking care of itself. So if we can sharpen up and tidy in that area, we know that things will sort of flip in a way. And I think that just gives you confidence. You just know, okay, I've got to just focus on this for a little bit. And then you see that start to happen when you go back out there and you have that confidence and you repeat it another week, another time, and feels it.
As an individual player, knowing your role within the team, but then also knowing your role within the back unit and also your own individual skill levels. I ask this quite a lot to the athletes. How do you balance your role, your skills, your team, everything to kind of make it work, because it has worked?
Yeah. Like I said, depending on what position you play, you go out there. Most guys go out there with a pretty, I'd say, simple but strong focus on what they need to do, their strengths and weaknesses, and just try and focus on them. For me, I just try and keep it pretty simple. Generally, if I'm playing in the back line, it's sort of, I try and negate my guys, sort of my job, and then help out where I can, to let Harris and or whoever it may be come across to intercept a bit more. So that's us sort of working together and playing to our strengths and weaknesses. Get the ball into the hands of the guys like Zorks, Fletcher, Wilmot, all the runners, the good kickers, sort of thing. So I think over time you develop those, not your ability, but just you just play to the percentages that helps you fit into that team. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and then being what Paul Roos described as your superpower and doubling down on what you're really good at. Describe what you're really good at. I'm going to put you on the spot here.
No, that's all right. I've mentioned it a few times. I think just competing and probably more so just hating to lose rather than win, whether that be scoreboard or more so for me in defence of my opponent. Generally, most games, you have I'd have a direct matchup. So I'd do a fair bit of work on that player or that opposition leading into the week, and then know what I've sort of got to do to slowly just chip away at, negating him throughout the game. So, that's sort of, I focus on that stuff pretty hard each week, try and take care of that. If I take care of that, then the rest.
What happens if you're preparing all week to mark someone, Jeremy Cameron or something, and then all of a sudden, game day, some other player that you've never marked before? What happens then in your head?
No, it's like, you obviously focus on him, but you've got a good understanding of the rest of the opposition. You're going to be
some rookie that's taking his spot for the first time because he's rolled his ankle in the warm up, and you're like, oh, all right, I wasn't preparing for that.
No, we're you're pretty agile. We've got, like I said, a good understanding of our opposition. Not, we do a line meeting as well and talk about each guy. At the club, put up an oppo board and have strengths and weaknesses of each player for that opposition. So if you, like you said, if there's someone that comes in, like, geez, I don't know, these fresh legs, like, just pretty excited to be playing, early on in their career or whatever, and you got to mark them. You can go back to that stuff, have a bit of a look and be like, okay, these are his things that he's going to help him be a good player in that game. So you try and take that away from him.
Throughout your career, who have you loved, or the challenge of? I'm not saying best. I'm saying who would you thrive on to mark?
I got to play a couple of times. I wouldn't say I loved getting the nod to play on him, but it was...
Well, you're a competitive bloke.
I did, but I was shitting myself at the time. I'm not going to lie. It's sort of like a Buddy Franklin. Played him a couple of times. Obviously, Jeremy Cameron a fair few times. Even getting a bit of a different matchup, like a Dustin Martin against Richmond at the G when he's one out in the square. It can be pretty scary and intimidating. But like you said, because you love looking forward to those things, it's a good feeling when you sort of can go against them and test yourself out and hopefully somewhat neutralise it.
Yeah, you actually used the word neutralise there. I also heard you use the word nullify.
Yeah,
it's a pretty cool word. Where'd you get that one from?
I don't know, actually. I surprise myself sometimes, to be honest. Some things just pop in my head.
So we've got neutralise, we've got nullify. How else would you describe a good old fashioned thrashing of an opponent? You got the one. No, I mean, got the one up on them. But nullify and neutralise, pretty hard to beat.
Negate, neutralise, shut out.
Sort of military style, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty full on.
Yeah,
and back.
It's a physical game, and you're a physical person. How do you deal with that when it comes to physicality as well?
Yep. Yeah. I've sort of never been, I guess, in terms of much of an issue for me. I've always sort of liked and enjoyed the physical side. It has come obviously with challenges and issues throughout my career, as everyone. It's not always smooth sailing due to that nature, that side of the game. So, I've had to probably respect my body a fair bit more the last few years as I've gotten older. Then you could sort of just bounce around as a young guy and nothing too much to phase you. You go week to week, no worries. But had to put a bit more time and effort probably into that area.
Do you ever go back to the moment of the ACL and you think about it, and you think about where that time, that feeling, and now where you are now?
Actually, I haven't too much. It's a good point, but it was an interesting one, that, because I was sort of, I don't think I had to have any surgery in the off season leading into 2024. So I got a full sort of training block in. I was actually playing forward there for a little bit as well, which was the first time I'd ever done that in my AFL career. Did a little bit as a junior. So it was a bit different to defence. I was moving around a bit more, running a bit faster. Actually, so I said to a few people, I don't think there'd be any correlation, but it was the best I'd felt in a long time physically, like probably 3 or 4 years, like just how speed I was running, ground I was covering, and almost like it almost ended up looking like I was moving too good for my own, hence the injury, because it was just an innocuous little thing. So
the confidence of I'll go down that black run skiing, I'm feeling good, right?
Yeah, literally, yeah. I was running up, hitting up at the ball, getting on the end of a few things. I think I'd kicked. I think I kicked 2 goals maybe in that first quarter, and I hadn't kicked any goals for the year. So I was like, you feel,
you get the dopamine hit, the crowd as well.
Yeah, a little bit of that as well. So it brought me down to earth pretty quickly.
No,
that's for sure.
The key to being a good defender versus the key to being a good forward, you reckon there's a place for both? In people can sort of change, or is it worlds apart?
No, there's definitely flexibility there. You got to run. You're at both ends there, so you get an understanding of when you're defending what you don't want to take away from a guy. So when you go forward, you can sort of get the other side of it and know what how to work against that.
Like the batter and bowler.
A little bit, yeah, exactly, yeah. And it's also, it's been fun for me. It was different, like over that pre-season, I was training at another end of the ground. It's just sort of enjoyable, training with a different, obviously you're with the guys all the time, but training with a different group of guys. We're a bit younger down there. It's a bit more, I'd say a few more larrikins, a bit more carry on, a bit more, not as serious, but not in a bad way, it's just sort of the
so
personality.
The forwards and backs have a different sort of a bit like rugby sometimes, that the backs have the hair combed and the forwards get in and do the hard work maybe, but different sports I suppose. But
correct, yeah, it's a bit
different personalities.
So the backs are pretty straight and the straight shooters and the
so
forwards.
There's no celebratory signature moves at the backs, is there? There's no motorcycles and sues and all this sort of carry on, right?
Nah, not to that level, but if you do watch Big Harris Andrews closely, he does start to, he's sort of started to, which is good. He's actually carried on a little bit, but it sort of just gives a bit of energy to the group, him and Will Moss.
He's a bit Leighton Hewitt-esque, isn't he? Come on.
Yeah, a little bit of that stuff. Sort of throwing the You'll see that if you watch the behind, if you get some behind the goals vision, you'll see him doing these ones when a forward does a spoil or a smother, not kick a goal.
How much emotional energy is used during a game?
Yeah, quite a bit. Especially probably just the day of, I think. Throughout the week, you can stay pretty well relaxed, I feel. Everyone's different. I've sort of wavered a bit with how it's worked for me. I'm starting to get a little bit more relaxed now, but day of game, sometimes probably not a great person to be around, to be honest. You sort of want to do your own thing for most of the day, and that's how I feel anyway. I might go out for a coffee in the morning, and then once that's sort of done, you sort of want to start to not thinking about the game, but you just know that that's coming, if it's an afternoon or the night. So everyone's got their own little ways and preparations and routines.
What do you prefer? Afternoon? Evening?
Probably afternoon, to be honest. Just sort of less waiting.
So you can get a reasonable night's sleep.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, you're not up till 2 or 3 a.m. or sometimes 4 a.m. The night after a night game. Then also filling in the day of a night game. It's easy for me now, but for younger guys and that, it can take a bit to get used to. And
when it comes to game day, you talk about maybe being a little introverty and maybe not getting distracted and doing other things. How important is the sleep and the nutrition and also the ups and downs leading into the first bounce? Not first bounce, first throw up this year, but first leading up to that. What are you thinking? What's going through your brain? Is it I don't want to talk about anything but the game. I don't want to talk about footy. I just want to have some clear thinking to myself, or maybe listen to some music. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good point. Leading in throughout the day. I don't know. It's sort of if it's it's obviously different home versus away because you're in a different environment. But like a home game, I just sort of like to chill out, to be honest, and sort of spend time by myself. After
you're watching Netflix or you're listening to Spotify?
I've sort of got stuff on the TV, but I'm not really.
They're
taking in. I listen to music a bit.
Darcy, we're out of bread. I'm not thinking about bread right now.
I'll deal with that tomorrow. Sorry.
Some mate calling you or something mate. I'm in my zone, right?
No, effectively, literally though. Like I said, music though. I listen, just sit there, just lie on the couch and listen to music, stretch, go for a walk. It sort of probably gets to say if it's a night game as well. You sort of probably get to. I'd always have a nap in the arvo for 45 minutes or an hour, and then after that sort of set, I've got a pretty set routine from there. And in terms of go for a walk, come back when you eat, shower, go to the game, and that sort of thing. And it's just sort of, I don't know, it seemed to have worked for me.
You're pretty strict on your routine / borderline superstition? Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah, I don't like to get too superstitious because then if something did go wrong, you don't want to be thinking. So I try and keep it loose-ish in a way, but also somewhat regimented, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and then the feeling of going out and playing a game, an important game, etc. Where's the brain at? Is it excited? Is it fearful? Is it are you thinking about things during the game? Is it just 100% on, or does your mind drift a little bit? Is it where does it sit?
It's a good question. No, I'm pretty. I wouldn't say fearful. Because they're pretty, I feel like we're pretty, everyone's different, but I feel like I'm pretty well prepared with what I've done throughout the week to be able to go out there and do what I need to do to help us win. There'll be times where you do all that as well and things don't go to plan, and that just happens. But you just got to keep soldiering on. Like I said, my mindset's definitely gotten better over the last 5 or 6 years when things aren't going well, and being able to either flip it and get it back on terms, or just you just got to keep chipping away. And sometimes it's not happening for you. That's going to happen. You can't be 100% week to week. So it's sort of you just sort of. But my mind, I wouldn't say it drifts too much. Like it's pretty. That's I think it's sort of you're preparing it throughout that day to just be ready to go for that 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
And then when the bigger games come along, do you treat them differently? In your mindset?
Not really, no, to be honest. You obviously probably feel, your body definitely would feel a little bit more probably adrenaline than a Sunday Arvo game, or just throughout the year. It's just, I think that's just natural with the bigger crowd, and obviously it's a lot more emphasis on the game, bigger implications as well. So it does, but I don't really, especially now, probably, maybe if I was playing finals when I was in my first few years, I'd have
which a lot of the Lions players have been, right?
Yeah.
In the last couple of years, you're like, wow.
Yeah, but those boys, but I'd probably be a lot different, but because of where I am when I've been playing them, I'll probably be in a better position to handle it.
Yeah, and just touching on this year briefly, like, dead set even at half time, and then what are you thinking about at half time? Are you thinking about like just the process, the structure, and then if you give everything you've got and it just doesn't come up, are you thinking about that at all?
Geez, in the grand, I don't know. Like, I mean, half time was an interesting one. Like, it was obviously the score, it was a pretty low scoring, but like I said, it was tight and it was quite physical. It was a warmish day as well, so. Well, to be honest, wasn't a lot of thinking going on. You're just getting in there, everyone's taking their breath, just trying to think. Okay, well, we've been playing pretty well. I think we can still got. And looking at how we had been going, we sort of knew we had areas to improve, and the scores are still even. So you're like, okay, that's a bonus. So I think that gives guys.
As opposed to like we've given everything, and there's we've
not
much left.
Yeah, we didn't feel like that was the case for us. So that was, I think. If guys come in a little bit flat, can turn the tables for them a bit, and they can go, okay, look outside themselves and go, actually, I can contribute here, or I can do this stuff a little bit better that I haven't been doing as well. But personally, for me, I was, obviously just had the role that I had to do, so I wasn't thinking too much.
To nullify Jeremy Cameron,
Yeah, which definitely helped. The fact that his arm was in two pieces.
Mate, you got to take it, mate. Yeah.
My mind didn't really change from that. Personally, I was pretty just like, okay, I've just got to, it's worked so far, so I just got to keep doubling down on it.
When did you realise that you'd won it? At what point? Early in the fourth, you reckon? Or something?
I think there was. I didn't want to go too early because I just didn't.
Because of what's happened in the past.
And just being the grand final, but I reckon there was someone kicked it might have been Huey's goal. He kicked a set shot sort of from an angle. It was probably one before then, but I think that was the one where I don't think I celebrated any of the goals until that one. Yeah, I was sort of just wanted to.
And there might have been 7 or 8 minutes, I don't know, on the clock. Yeah. But that period of enjoyment then, lapping it up.
Yeah, definitely. It was an interesting period because it sort of felt like that was a period where, like you said, you felt like you'd won the game. So when the siren went, it was still exciting, but it was sort of like, you were just waiting, and then it went, and you're like, fuck, I'd sort of already celebrated all that.
God, you can't F-bomb on my podcast.
Beep.
You can do that. Or just put the E on. Yeah. Mate, one of the greatest moments, potentially, in your life. So you can swear as much as you want.
So it was an interesting way that it all played out.
Yeah, because prior to that in 23, it came down to millimetres, right?
Yeah, no idea how long was left or what was. Well, obviously knew there wasn't long left, but you're just playing it out. The ball was live. And could barely hear the siren when it went that year. So
and then just touching on that, there's a lot of press reported around you watching that game after, or pretty much the painfulness of that. Yeah. How important was that? Do you think, or a moment like that to relive exactly what you went through to then kind of have that drive?
Yeah, very. I think it was pretty. That was good and pretty important. I think that we knocked it on the head pretty early. Everyone sort of got up if they wanted to say their piece and sort of say, I wish I had this moment again, or I wish I could have done this better, own up to things that they didn't think were of standard and that sort of thing, just to not to out anyone or point the finger at anyone, but just so we could come back after that break and pre-season is just not even really talk about it or not have things sort of lingering around about it or any issues with it. So I think maybe you can hear, I'd like to hear other teams that lose ones or close ones and then they can't quite get back that next year or they don't even make finals next year, and whether that has an effect on it, I'm not 100% sure, but I found it very beneficial what we did after losing that game.
Yeah, and then just before we get on to a few questions about yourself, I asked some athletes about high performance, and high performance can mean in hindsight, it can mean currently. Do you think about yourself and there's some traits or daily traits or some traits that have helped you through those moments, the loss of the final, the injuries, etc., where you're comfortable with yourself or there's something that you do to kind of keep going and getting the best out of yourself?
I guess being able to, you can put a lot of trust in the team around you in terms of whoever it is at the time, physios, the rehab staff, all that, surgeons and that, and probably after having a few setbacks and being able to bounce back and actually come back and play at that level and a capable level, not just getting back out there and not really feeling like you're up to it, has given confidence that the things that I'm doing and the things that they're making me do and implementing is working and will work each time there is a thing that happens or a setback. So I don't get too worried or bogged down if something isn't going to plan, just because I've seen, I can look back at a lot of things that have happened to me and others and know that there is a way out forward, and it's not just all doom and gloom, if that makes sense.
Yeah, has your perspective changed a little bit on life as you get a little bit older?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Definitely, I've definitely been very, I've had a few things, but I can't say I've been very lucky, very, very lucky with the career I've had so far and hopefully what's to come. I only have to look at other teammates that I'm close with, and it doesn't, have to go too far to have a bit of perspective in life and even travelling and that and seeing how things go around the world. I think it's just also about, it's nothing instrumental here, but just I've found myself enjoying things and not probably taking things as serious as my career's gotten older. Can weigh you down a bit, I think, through the middle part of your career, or my career anyway, when you're sort of meant to be at your peak and that sort of things aren't going to plan. You can probably overemphasize things or look into things too much. And the last few years or last year or two, I've been able to just pretty much flip that on its head and not really care about things that you don't need to care about.
Yeah,
much, yeah.
The fun element, it's a question I ask quite a bit.
Yeah.
You mustn't be having that much fun when you do your ACL, but then you're back into things. Do you connect with fun every now and then, or try to?
Yeah, I'm quite. I try to. I've had to. It's probably not as natural for me. Training on the field wise, off the field, different. Enjoy yourself a bit more.
Pretty easy to have fun off the field with your mates, right?
Yeah, exactly. But on the field, it's sort of it's helped though. Obviously, like I said, having Harris down there, he is older, but carries on a bit in a good way, brings the energy, even like Darcy Wilmot, those younger guys, Kai Lohman, Logues down forward, the injection of that energy and youth and just sort of seeing how they go about it and it works for them probably rubs off on us older guys a little bit, and you can start to be like, okay, it's not as, serious. There's a time to be serious, don't get me wrong, but you can still have fun and do the right thing. You can still do the right things whilst you're having fun. It doesn't have to be just, head down, don't smile, don't laugh, that sort of thing. So,
what do you do for fun outside of footy?
So a lot of us as footballers got a lot of spare time, so try and have a hit of the golf ball, surfing, got a dog at home. Surfing, was a lot more into it as I was a bit younger and first up here. It's been a bit harder as I've gotten older, just driving down and injuries, getting stiff in the car, that sort of stuff.
People, young ones, like, who's that old man?
Yeah, literally, get out of my way. Travelling, got a chocolate lab at home, a dog, wife Sophie and that, so enjoy spending time with them.
Yeah, go for a dog walk.
Go for a walk every day, a couple of times a day with him, so not too far though, he's
nice.
Not the most athletic thing.
Now, we do have a sponsor, or a couple of sponsors on Scoreboard. One is SwiftX, which is also a Brisbane Lions major sponsor, which is great to have you on the show. And SwiftX, Australia's most trusted cryptocurrency exchange with over 1.2 million users in Australia and New Zealand, and they've got a new little campaign called Where Can Crypto Take You? And as part of their sponsorship, we run a little segment called The Bucket List, and it's a sporting event live that you'd love to attend as a spectator. Darcy Gardiner.
Yes, for me, would probably be the NFL Super Bowl, I reckon.
Right.
Yeah.
Anywhere? Like no particular stadium or teams?
No. If I can just get there once, that would be enough.
And what would you do? Would you do the big tailgating party? Like experience it.
Would love to do the whole
lunchtime
thing.
onwards.
Yeah.
I think it's a 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock afternoon.
Yeah, early start,
you
a
get
long
there
game.
9 o'clock and
just embrace it. I reckon you got to go over and do it the way they do it.
You follow your sports outside of footy? Do you follow the NBA or the NFL?
I follow NFL. Probably the closest sport outside of footy. There's a fair few of us at the club that do that. Bit of fantasy as well.
Oh yeah, I'm in the NBA fantasy at the moment, having a reasonable start, which is good. No injuries.
Yeah,
injuries come thick
helps.
and fast. Well, I've got Trey Young from Atlanta. He's not going very well. But the fantasy. So there's actually an NFL game coming to Melbourne next year as well.
There is
a regular season
MCG
game.
they're playing maybe.
Yeah, and I was sort of heard the mayor speak the other day about they want to have the world's biggest tailgating party at the MCG.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So that'll be fun. Now, also your all-time favourite sporting moment, and I preface this has been a big year for you personally, but not including yourself.
Yep. A bit off. Well, not off topic, but yeah, as a youngster, like I said, grew up down the coast and loved surfing. So for me, looked up to Taj Burrow and Mick Fanning. So when Mick Fanning won his world titles in, I think, the first one 07, 09 and 13, that was pretty cool and something I enjoyed as a youngster.
Yeah, no, for sure. And became very famous for his investment in a beer company too.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Bolter.
Wish he got me on that, even though I don't know him, but that would have been nice.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe the next one, yeah. Captain Sensible is a beer that I enjoy sometimes every now and then. Big shout out to Bolter.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good beer.
Delicious.
And it's good mid-strength, so you can drink responsibly, everyone. The other thing I was asked about is your scoreboard moment. Of course, the scoreboard. Who could forget the scoreboard moment? The scoreboard moment is a moment in your life. It's very visual. It's like a Kodak moment, almost like a sliding door sometimes as well. That you can recall, and from that life changed.
I was trying to think outside of the box, but not related to footy. But I reckon at the end of my first year, I sort of, like I said, I played every game or most games as a youngster and didn't quite come back in great shape that second year, and obviously not doing that followed a couple of injuries, and then ever since then, I've still had injuries, but it hasn't been to the fact that I haven't done what I've been needing to do as a professional athlete. And after that year, that was definitely a turning point. And I think while I've been lucky enough to be involved and still playing the game for as long as I have.
And Darcy, we also have another sponsor in PocketSmith. PocketSmith is the personal finance app for the household CFO, the one keeping the budget in check, paying the bills and kicking goals. Over 80,000 Aussies use PocketSmith to track their spending, see their net worth and plan ahead. Darcy, I'm curious, are you the CFO of your household and do you budget?
Loosely. I wouldn't say. I'd say it's also a 50-50 between who the CFO is, but loosely have been keen to dive into it probably a little bit deeper, especially as I'm getting towards the end ish of my career. So,
are you thinking crypto, shares, property, Netflix subscriptions?
Yeah, I've got to take care of a few subscriptions. Actually, that's a good reminder. Thank you very much. I've got to see what I'm actually signed up to.
It's hard to keep track of every now and then.
Yeah.
Where you're like, did we do that free trial?
Correct.
And then you get whacked on Apple and it goes $9.99 on Apple. You're like, what was that one?
Yeah.
And you have to go through and you go, because Apple makes it so easy for you to subscribe, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so I've had to sort out a bit of that. Got a couple of properties and that, so that's been good. But keen to sort of obviously look at a few other options.
And Darcy, we also have a little segment called the Favourite Junior Club Shout Out, powered by PayLab. Experience the ultimate in savings and convenience with PayLab Rewards. The PayLab platform is designed to help your club and its members make the most of every purchase by offering instant rewards at over 140 of Australia's top retailers. And even better, your club can earn a revenue share from every transaction made. A big shout out to PayLab. Now, Darcy, a junior club that you played for, a shout out to them and why?
It's a pretty easy one for me. The Queenscliff Footy Club, very small coastal town where I grew up as a kid. And, played all my junior footy. Very tight community bunch down there. And I still got quite a few friends and pretty much know everyone that's still at the club. So a big shout out to them. They're doing very well at the moment. It's good to see, and hopefully maybe one day I can get back there and have a kick for them.
I love that connection back to junior sport. Like I've got kids now playing with clubs, and the memories are so vivid as a kid there, and also the coaches and the teams and the players and the premierships and the losses and everything. But then as you have grown older to become the master of your trade in playing professional AFL, it's great to go back and connect with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's just pretty cool that a lot of the people are still involved since I was there. So it shows it's a special place.
Excellent. We'll give him a shout out on social media now. A couple of other questions. I've had Dale Morris on the podcast before, and we texted him just to say we've got something to talk about on the podcast with you, and he mentioned something about his bone broth. So I'm curious to know, and Dale will love this, curious to know what's this bone broth business talk about?
I'd never really I knew what broth was, but I hadn't really come across using it as a tool to, help your body recover and improve as such. So obviously Dale, throughout his career, had a fair few injuries, and I think it was one of his ACLs maybe. He got onto doing a natural sort of recovery and was smashing the bone broth a lot more than I've been drinking, but to try and aid, I think, with that. It seemed to work pretty well for him, and he had good results in that. So he got to the club in 2023. His
first year was a premiership, second year was a premiership.
I think he coached VFL 2023, and then went into AFL 2024. But yeah, obviously I got there when he got there. I was struggling with a bit of Achilles stuff. Had a bit of surgery on the Achilles, and not a lot was going right. And he just brought up the idea of bone broth and helping, and so I got the recipe off him and started to cook just my homemade chicken bone broth. Not that my wife loves it because it smells out the house, but it's something that I sort of started to do, and you can get a bit lazy with it. But I sort of once I start something and I seem to see good results from it, I hate to not continue it.
Not superstitious at all.
Yeah, not at all, loosely. But yeah, and then obviously I had the ACL the year after that, so that probably emphasised getting back onto it. And,
right. So has Dale got a trademark or a patent on the recipe?
Well, no, that's the thing, he doesn't. But I have spoken to him. Like, there's there could be something.
Everyone's into the wellness phase.
Exactly.
And
it's the right time
ice
to
baths and compression socks and saunas and stuff like that. But the bone broth. So when would you take it?
I just usually try it. So it's just usually a cup every morning. There's no really rhyme or rhythm to when or how much or that sort of thing. But I'd usually sometimes, when I was sort of heavily into my recovery and that, I'd just replace it. So say with instead of a cup of coffee, I'd have that pre-training. And that sort of thing. It tastes good. Just like chicken soup, really nice and warm.
It's salty too, probably.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, not only for injuries, just general health and body. I think seems to be pretty good for you. And I felt pretty good.
If you had to credit, a whole lot of things towards the premiership, where would the bone broth sit in terms of a percentage basis?
Oh, if Dale's listening, very high. Absolutely. I honestly would. I mean, I wouldn't still be partaking in it if I didn't think it had some positive impact.
Yeah.
Not only on just footy, but just
I'm a commercial person. Let's talk about some sort of product, all right? Let's get the Instagram going.
Oh yeah,
mate, you're the ambassador straight up. It's organic, unpaid by Dale, right?
That's it.
You just have to come up with a good name.
Yeah. I'll leave that to him. We'll leave it. His wife, Jem. She was.
What's
she's
Dale Morris's nickname?
Moz.
Yeah.
Moz.
So
biceps,
Dizzy and Moz or something. I don't know. Dizzy Moz broth.
We'll leave it with him. He's quite a creative guy and creative thinker, so I reckon he'll be the one to come up with something for it. Definitely.
Yeah, there you go. Now, one final question. So advice: you playing footy as a junior, surfing as well, and thinking, I love this thing. I wouldn't mind playing professionally. I wouldn't mind getting paid to play and play in the AFL. going back to that 15, 16-year-old self? What's some advice that you give now?
Looking back on it, I obviously put a fair bit of time into it, and I don't regret sort of all the effort and work. Not only myself, but mum and dad as well. There's a lot of travelling with, rep footy, state footy, all that sort of stuff. But maybe, I still think I probably went, when I was saying about enjoying it, I probably still didn't enjoy things and had fun when I was that period. And then when I got into the AFL, I might have switched back the other way too much and then gone back the other way, which is interesting. So it's not really talking about 15-year-old, but I think it's still important to have that good balance and not just not overthink things too much. It's pretty generic-y sort of stuff, but at the end of the day, if you do as much if you put in and do as much as you want and it goes as you think you should and it goes your way, great. If it doesn't, then it's certainly not the be all and end all. If I look back and say I didn't play footy, I got a lot of mates that were similar position to me as a 15 and 16-year-old, wanted to play footy, played a lot of rep footy together. Things didn't go their way for whatever reason. And they've still had very, very good lives and are in very good positions as well. So, and I'm still best mates with them. So, certainly not the be all and end all.
You talked about preparation. You talked about having fun. These things that you can only give the best of your version of yourself, and the ledger of win losses can go either way.
Yep.
It's some great advice out there to do that, and it sounds like you've done that.
Yep.
In your own life and with a bit more perspective now. Footy is just a game, but at the same point in time, you've given everything you've got, and there's still a little bit left, by the way.
No, we'll try and chip away for a couple more years, hopefully.
Darcy Gardiner, thank you so much for being on Scoreboard, the podcast today, and having a chat in person. It's great to sit down and unpack a little bit about your life and your thinking and where you're going, etc. And looking forward to catching up and supporting where I can.
All right, thanks for having me, Chris.